Thank you for streaming TIN News here on this platform. It gives us the chance to bring you more in-depth information about local issues here in East Tennessee. My name's Daniel. I'm a streaming producer here on WBIR+. Usually I'm behind the scenes, but I'm jumping on right now because we're getting an update about potholes, something that affects all of us. And here to talk about that, it's my distinct honor to introduce Mark Nagi with TDOT. Mark, we normally introduce you as TDOT spokesman, but I believe your official title is Regional Communications Officer. Can you just tell people a little bit more about what you do, how long you've been with TDOT?
Sure. So the Department of Transportation is the state agency that has a direct effect on the daily lives of all Tennesseans. Even if you don't drive on our interstates and state routes, you need these roads to be open for emergency care, for the delivery of commerce. It is a wide has a wide effect. I guess you could say. Remember, here in East Tennessee specifically, we have over 9,000 lane miles of interstates and state routes. People always ask, okay, what roads are you working on? And it's interstates and state routes. If it's a local road, a neighborhood, that would be a question for the city, county, or town, whoever it may be. So I've been on the job here now for 15 years. It's been a terrific job to have. And I feel like we make a difference. You know, we're doing all that we can to try to keep motorists safe. And that's something that we're dedicated to doing each and every day.
Absolutely. Thank you. So let's jump into it with potholes. It's a big deal, affects everybody. You just mentioned some of the distinction between what TDOT handles and what cities and counties handle. Potholes this year are like one of the biggest topics in the Knox County mayoral race, but you guys don't handle those same roadways and repairs. Talk a little bit more about what's in your purview.
Sure. So for the most part, we are responsible for everything that happens on interstates and state routes. And in my region, which is Region 1, it's 24 counties, and that stretches from Morgan, Scott, Roane County, all the way to Upper East. So it's a very wide area. You know, it takes you a good 3 hours to go from point to point, maybe even a little bit more, depending on where you can end up going in Johnson City. When it comes to potholes, this is the time of year when we see a lot of them on our transportation network. We've been, typically when you get that freezing and thawing cycle, and we see temperatures fluctuate here in East Tennessee, so much. It could be 70 degrees one day and 25 degrees the next when you're talking about late winter, early spring. So that's when you see a lot of potholes. And unfortunately, at that time of year, the patching is mostly temporary because you don't have access to hot asphalt. Now this is the time of year when our major resurfacing projects will be taking place. For example, work on I-275 in Knox County is now underway. They'll be milling and paving that 3-mile corridor for the next few months. All that work takes place overnight. And we saw a lot of potholes on I-275. So this is going to remedy that situation for hopefully for years to come.
Awesome. So that'll be a longer term fix rather than some of the short-term repaving that you mentioned?
Yeah, so as an example, there was that part of I-640 that had what we call rubbleization, and that gave us an even more permanent fix. Anybody who's driven on I-640 has seen it's been a really smooth ride, especially over the last couple of years. What we're planning and what we're going to be executing for I-275 is it's going to be something that we're not going to have to go over very much in terms of potholes. Certainly, we're going to get some potholes here and there, but this is something that folks who are going to be driving on I-275 are going to have a smoother ride for years to come.
That's great to hear. We certainly know it hasn't always been that way, and we look forward to when it is. Let's see here, my next question. People who are out driving, we see your crews. We basically know the work that they're doing. It's like, okay, potholes have been bad here. We see that they're repaving. But people may not know all of the work that goes in from A to Z in order to get that done. You mentioned the hot asphalt process, but can you take us into the shoes of the crew members getting that work done? What are those projects like?
Well, keep in mind that this work is taking place sometimes only a couple of feet from oncoming traffic. It is extremely dangerous work. I go out there with our crews from time to time and take pictures and video. And I'm always floored by how fast vehicles are traveling through these work zones. Every time you travel through a work zone, you need to slow down. It's not just like your normal drive. If those orange cones are out there, those orange barrels are out there, that's going to mean that you're going to have reduced lane widths. So it's not as easy a drive as if you're in an area that is not a work zone. So our crews do everything that they can to try to keep an eye on the roads, keep an eye on oncoming traffic. You'll see them, making sure that when they have to walk around a vehicle or walk to the side or have to cross the road, they're making sure that they have plenty of room. But we need the public to do their job as well. And that means do not drive distracted. Far too often we're seeing people that are, using this. They're texting and driving. And you think if I'm only going, I'm only looking down at my phone for a second or two, it's not that big of a deal. It is a big deal because your car is going 40, 50, 60, 70 miles an hour, and you're not able to bring your car to a stop or to slow it down as quickly as you would like. So, we need the public to keep our workers safe. And it isn't as much, or it isn't only our TDOT folks, it's our contractors. It is emergency personnel. It is law enforcement. We talked about resurfacing. Our crews are out there assisting with bridge inspections, bridge repairs. You have crews that are out there with litter pickup, mowing crews. I mean, there's just so much that's taking place on our Tennessee transportation network. And we want our folks and the other folks I was just talking about, we want them to go home safely, just like we want every driver to go home safely. So, we ask that the public work with us. That's a hashtag that we've had for now a few years. So we ask that the public do their part and make sure that they're never driving distracted, especially when they're driving through a work zone.
That's a good chance to bring up this week that we're just reaching the end of. People may be watching this later on, but everything that you just mentioned applies every day of the year. But let's talk about this week that we're just reaching the end of as we're recording now. It has been National Work Zone Awareness Week.
Yep.
Can you talk a little bit about how TDOT has paid tribute and recognized the workers who have suffered from drivers who are driving distracted?
So we've had 113 of our TDOT workers who have died in the line of duty. And that's only since records began being kept in the late 1940s. So obviously it's more than 113. We have 113 orange barrels set up along I-640 East near the Western Avenue exit in Knox County.
I'm going to bring a video of that for people to see.
As a memorial to those 113 workers that were just going to work on a normal day, and they didn't end up being able to get home to their families because of a crash in a work zone. I hope that when people drive by that, they don't just look at it as a normal thing on the side of the road, because it is a memorial to those TDOT workers. And we've also had our friends at the city of Knoxville helped us with having the Henley Bridge lit in orange back a week ago, back on that Monday night. Depending on when people are viewing or listening to this, anything that we can do, just like the word says, awareness, anything that we can do to promote awareness, we're going to do. And it isn't even just our folks, because driving through a work zone, if you're a motorist and trying to get to and from your destination, we want you to get home safely too. Last year, there were over 2,400 crashes in work zones in the state of Tennessee. Wow. And over 600 of them involved an injury, and 16 of those were fatal. And you start to hear those numbers, and maybe people kind of glaze over sometimes that, hey, it's just math, it's just a number. But those are 16 people that didn't get back to their families. Those are 16 families that now have to deal with that for the rest of their time. So I hope that people realize, not just during National Work Zone Awareness Week, but the other 51 weeks a year, that they're doing all that they can to keep our folks safe and keep themselves safe as well.
Right. Something I want to talk about also from the working crew's perspective is obviously they want to get home safe. They also want to do good work and make our roads better. what are some of the biggest hurdles between TDOT and doing as much work as you would like to do? Is it funding? Is it weather? What are some of the challenges that you deal with that people don't necessarily see?
Like many things in life, it comes down to money. There are nearly 1,000 projects statewide that we have recognized as being worthy projects that we would like to undertake, but the funding just simply is not there. We are very thankful to the state legislature for the money that has been appropriated to the Tennessee Department of Transportation, but we can't get to everything. There's only so much funding going around. Remember, we are funded by the gas tax, and as cars get more fuel efficient, and as you get electric cars and everything that comes with that, it means that there's less money coming into us. So, the state legislature has appropriated extra funds. And again, we are using every single dollar that we can. Half of our budget now goes to what we call the state of good repair, making sure that the roads are in proper working order, make sure that the bridges are being worked on. We will not allow any roadway, any bridge to be open if we feel that it presents a danger to the motoring public. So again, we would like to do all of these projects. We just can't, depending on the funding. Also, remember, we are a pay-as-you-go state, which means that we don't move forward on any stage of a project without knowing that that funding is in place. And so you've got, design, environmental, right-of-way, construction, all these different stages for a project to get over the finish line. And we had a lot of times, frankly, over the years, when we would start undertaking one part of a project and not knowing if we were going to ever get to the finish line. Well, we are dedicated now to every project that we start, we will make sure that it finishes. But as a pay-as-you-go state, one of only a few in the union that operates this way, it means that we are not passing along transportation debt to our children and their children and so on and so forth. Unfortunately, that does mean that there are projects that take longer than perhaps they would, if we were going into debt in some of those projects. So, like I said at the beginning, money has a huge effect on everything. And, we are doing everything we can with every dollar that we get at the department.
Right. And everything's a trade-off. You mentioned the gas tax system of funding for TDOT. I appreciate that. I actually didn't realize that. Do you happen to know, is that a set amount each year, or is it always a set rate where it's proportional? Like if people are spending more on gas, that does generate more revenue for TDOT.
It does generate more revenue. Back when the Improve Act was passed under Governor Haslam, the gas tax was raised a little bit. So that meant that more money was coming in. But there are what we called Improve Act projects from 2016, 2017, I can't remember the specific year the Improve Act was passed, that we are still trying to undertake. Because as time goes on, also, we see that everything gets more expensive. The cost of doing business, of getting a road built, of getting a bridge built, that's all more expensive. So, I don't see a future without having to get more funding to do more. I mean, we're trying to do as much as we can, again, with the funding that we have, and we'll continue to do that in the years to come.
Before we move on from potholes completely, last thing I want to ask about that is, say someone's out driving on the highway, they hit a bad pothole, not their fault, damages their car. What kind of recourse is there? What should people do to handle that? So
the first thing we ask is that people let us know what they see on these interstates and state routes. We monitor our roadways every single day. Again, we have over 9,000 lane miles in East Tennessee alone, but we don't see everything immediately. So people can go to the TDOT website at tn.gov/TDOT and fill out a maintenance request form. They can also call us at 833-TDOT-FIX and leave all the pertinent information. Those potholes will end up on a list, and our maintenance folks will investigate and get to them as soon as they can.
Okay, great. And I'll put that information up for the viewers.
Yes, and then you were asking about legal if somebody hits a pothole. Sure. Yes. Yeah. So that's actually a question for the Department of Safety. Okay. They look into all claims against the Department of Transportation. Obviously, we're not going to investigate a legal claim against ourselves. So questions of that nature need to go to the Department of Safety. And you can go to their website, just do a Google search for TDOT claims, and you'll get right to their webpage.
Okay, great. I think I have that up right now. I'm just going to show people what that webpage looks like in case it's a bit harder to find. All right. I think that's all I had about potholes. I really appreciate your time in here with us. Before I let you go, I do want to bring up something that happened pretty recently to when we were recording. Kind of crazy.
Right.
Let's talk about the bees. I think this was
last Friday.
Yeah, so that was April 17th-ish, I think.
Yeah, something like that.
People listening, somewhere around there.
Yeah, April 17th. That should be it, yeah.
Yeah, so a truck crashed on the I-40 ramp to Henley Street, right in downtown Knoxville. More than 1 million bees are now swarming. What was your first thought when you heard this news? Okay.
Well, one thing just to get straight is that we don't have the exact number of bees that were released, but it was obviously substantial enough that we had to make sure that the ramp was closed. Okay, so there were some bees that stayed with the truck. Many bees got loose. I've been doing this job for 15 years. That's the first time I've ever had to put out a bee alert. It was something that got a lot of national attention.
Yeah,
you would see that on many, national newscasts. NBC Nightly News called me asking about it. It's never boring here. There's always seems to be something going on. So we fortunately there were no injuries. And we tried to tell folks, unless you're wearing a beekeeper outfit, stay in your car. There's no reason to get out of your car. I didn't. When I woke up on April 17th, I did not expect to have to put out a bee alert.
No, and I'm putting up some video right now. I don't know if you can see the monitor beside you of some of your workers and the suits that they were wearing.
So that's not our guy. That's the driver.
Got
yes,
it.
in the beekeeper
because they were
outfit.
Beekeepers.
Yes. So the driver was a beekeeper, and I can't remember if they had a passenger or not, but the truck was totaled. Fortunately, there were no injuries, and since he's transporting the bees, he had that beekeeper outfit ready to go, and fortunately, he was able to. But it's funny because I've gotten questions. Hey, what are they doing with the bees? I'm not a bee expert. I do not know the ins and outs and the specifics of what they're spraying onto the truck, but it made for an interesting Friday afternoon. I'll just put it that way.
For sure. And it just speaks to how many scenarios your crews have to be ready to handle at any given notice.
Think about it. They have to deal with, flooding and rock slides and landslides and crashes, and they do a million different things. But we don't get many calls about crashes involving bees.
I believe it.
Yeah.
Before I let you go, is there anything else we didn't cover that you would like people to know?
If people want to know what's going on in Tennessee roadways, always go to the TDOT website. You can do a search for TDOT and Region 1. East Tennessee is Region 1, and that takes you to our Region 1 projects page with a list of many projects that we currently have underway or are proposed. In terms of specific, when you're going out on the roadways, you want to know if there's crashes, backups, anything like that, go to smartway.tn.gov. It's a great resource for folks to use. Our traffic cameras are on there as well. But obviously, don't use that when you're behind the wheel. Either do that before you drive or have a passenger help you out.
Mark Nagi, as always, thank you so much for your time and taking your time out of your day to talk with us and share that.
Of course, anytime.
All right, folks, to wrap us up, thank you for watching us here on WBIR+. If you're watching on your phone or your desktop, remember you can also get us on your smart TV. We are available on Roku, Fire TV, and Apple TV. That's WBIR+. You can download on your TV and watch for free. We have much more coming your way. Stay with us.